The Castanan kingdom has lost all hope after the 5 great knights went missing. The grand menace, known as Ozara, is approaching, and there's nobody to stop him. That is the premise of my novel, Legacy of the Castanan Crown, which I have recently published with my local publisher. It's not a big run, 150 copies total, only 100 of which are mine, but it is way more than I expected for a first time publishing. Overall, I'm very happy and very grateful with how it all turned out. I mean, the look of the book, the quality of the print, the colors of the pictures, it all looks better than I had hoped for. That being said, this hasn't been easy. In fact, it was quite stressful and tiring and long, like over 100 days long. So I want to talk about it, about the publishing process as a small, unknown author writing in a foreign language, about the promotion of my novel, which was also really stressful but went exceptionally well, about the unfairness of the industry and the many bumps along the road that you can expect if you also want to publish a novel. And finally, I'll briefly talk about how much you can earn as a small author. I want this video to primarily be a documentation of my journey, but also for it to be some sort of a guide for any future authors. But before I talk about the publishing process, I first have to introduce you to Legacy of the Castanan Crown. Picture this, a bug society living on a chestnut tree. There are all sorts of bugs, ants, who live in the anthill kingdom near the bottom of the tree. They provide the kingdom with food. Spiders who live in the mysterious web pit, in the middle section of the tree. They are closed for any other species of insects. Then there are wasps, in the kingdom of Hornest, a giant wasp nest that is constantly in chaos, yet in order at the same time. Mantises, who reside in the Mantesian tribe, where they worship their mantis goddess, whom they live to serve. Beetlefield, the biggest city in the Castanan kingdom. Beetles of every sort can be found here. Hercules beetles, titans, ladybugs, stingbugs, cockroaches, dung beetles, stag beetles, you name it. A beautiful city, full of life, where every important event takes place. But then there's him, Ozara, the grand menace. The crowd that attacks the kingdom every 12 seasons. And every 12 seasons, the great knights, 5 of the strongest warriors in all of Castana, gather to protect the holy tree from the beast. But 12 seasons have passed, and the great knights are nowhere to be found. Every city, every part of the kingdom has closed its gates. Every citizen has lost all hope. Despair, starvation, and hopelessness fill Castana's air, and Ozara will strike any day. That is a brief description of the setting of my novel. The novel, which has over 100,000 words and over 60 fully colored illustrations that I have drawn myself. I poured my soul into this story. For 5 months, every single day I would spend between 5 and 6 hours actively working on the novel, whether it's drawing or writing or learning about different types of insects. And on top of that, I would also spend 6 to 7 hours passively working on it. That means that I would spend that time just thinking about the story, about the characters, about the setting, about the world that I created, about the plot, about the designs, all of that. I would just, sit there and think, basically, or lie in bed and think. I have spent countless nights sleepless in that period. I just couldn't fall asleep. I would lay in bed for hours upon hours just thinking about my little world. And I would wake up around 7:30 each morning because I would have to go to university classes or worse, exams. If I had like 3 hours of sleep, that would be a blessing, honestly. You get the point. I put my soul into this novel and my dream was to publish it. The only problems were I wrote in English and I lived in Serbia, more specifically a village named Negotin. Before I contacted any publishing company, I focused on my studies for a bit. I finished the first year of university, and in the meantime I uploaded my novel on Tapas for people to read for free. And the reception I got was overwhelmingly positive. While not many people read it, anyone who gave it a try really enjoyed it. Each chapter had heartwarming comments, and each comment made my day. Just knowing that someone out there enjoyed my story so much, that someone has connected with this world, these characters that I have made, knowing that somebody out there laughed and cried for these characters, for this world of mine, it made me feel happy. Especially because I consider this to be my magnum opus, my greatest story that I'll probably ever make. Knowing this made me push even harder. It made me motivated to do everything I can to publish my novel physically in my country. I knew it wasn't going to be easy. It was going to be quite difficult, probably more difficult than I thought. And I was right. On summer, when I had no more university-related stuff to worry about, I wrote emails to every major publishing company in Serbia. Čarobna knjiga, Laguna, Orphelin, just to name a few. I wrote multiple emails to each one of them over the course of the summer, and guess how many responded? None. Zero. Null. Not a single one. If you're a small unknown author like I am, the reality is you won't get a big publisher. They will not notice you. They will not reply to your emails. Unless you have some sort of a connection to someone who works there, or a ton of money. Unless you are an already established author, chances are no big or even middle-sized publisher is willing to give your book a try. Even if that book is something great, something special. And that sucks. And it sucked when it happened to me. Especially because I knew that I had written something special. This was the first story that I created for which I can confidently say that I am proud of every single page. So yeah, it was kinda heartbreaking that nobody even bothered saying no. But this didn't mean that I should give up. It meant that I should try harder. I revisited my novel, I fixed some scenes, extended other scenes, added more artworks, fixed the grammar, and I was ready. This time I would go smaller, but I was sure that I would publish it. Since sending emails to big publishers proved useless and nothing but a waste of time, I decided to go with my local publisher from my village. They usually publish local writers in prints of a couple dozen to 100 copies total. Rarely anything goes beyond 100 copies. Good news is the director, as well as most of the workers there, knew me. This was because I was in local news a few times for self-publishing my comic Ununrolled. I could only afford about 30 copies, most of which I had just given away to friends and family, but it was enough for the local news to notice me. I even had an interview about the whole process of self-publishing a comic, but that's a story for another day. This is why, the workers there knew me and the director herself, and also why I was so confident that I would be able to publish my novel there. But there is one important thing when it comes to the publishing process. Timing. You can't just go to the publishing house any day of the year and propose to publish a story. You cannot do that. You need to know when they fill in their budget so that you have the highest chance of succeeding. Luckily, I knew that their budget refills at the beginning of the year, so I went to see the director in the middle of January. And most publishing companies, as I'm aware, work in a similar fashion. For the talk, I prepared a black and white copy of my novel to give to the director so she has a general idea of what I imagine the novel to look like. The talk went well, as I thought it would. The director was amazed by what I had shown her. She said they never published a book in English, let alone an illustrated novel. She even commented how perfect my timing was because their budget will be refilled next week. So since I was literally the first person to propose a book to publish this year, I was guaranteed to have a print run. The only questions were how many copies I would have and how much time it will take for the novels to be printed. As for how many, the director didn't know. It all depended on how much of the budget they would be able to give me for printing, and this also affected the amount of time that it will take for them to be printed. However, the director promised me this. My novel would be printed in at least 100 copies, and the pictures would be fully colored. I was then given a contract right then and there, which I did not expect. I read it through and through, and the contract was good actually, excellent even. The contract said this: I would be given all of the rights to sell the novel. This meant that I would earn 100% of the profit from sales. However, 1/3 of the print run, but at the very least 36 copies, would go to them, to the publisher, which was my local library. They would send some copies to the libraries in surrounding towns, and the rest would be given as prizes for a variety of local competitions. The only space left blank on the contract was the exact amount of copies that will be printed. Again, that was to be decided after the budget was set, so in the next couple of weeks. I have to repeat it, this was an exceptionally excellent contract for an author, especially a new author, like an unknown author. And I have to know that I was given such only because the director knew me, but also my novel was unique in a sense that it was the very first English novel that they printed, as well as the very first illustrated novel that they printed, so they wanted to showcase it in a better light. Another reason for them giving me all of the sale rights were because of taxes. If a publishing company gives all the sale rights to the writer, that meaning the writer can either give away his books or sell them or do whatever he wants with them, they do not pay tax for any sales that the writer or the author makes. So less taxes means more money for them. And they told me that they'll get back to me in a few weeks to discuss the exact number of copies, as well as when I would be able to see my novel, when I would be able to hold it in hand. As for the copies, I had hoped for at least 120 because, as in the contract, if I had a run of 100 copies, 36 would go to them, which is more than a third, but 120 would also give me and them a round number, which, just sounded nicer. 2 weeks have passed. Then 3, then 4, then 5. It was already the last week of February and still no news. I was not at the village at this time, but I had written several emails to them about it, and nothing, no response. This was very frustrating, not gonna lie. But alas, I knew I had to be patient and wait. Soon enough, I finally got some updates. I would be able to see my novel by the end of March, apparently. And as for the number of copies, it was 150? 150? Wow, I did not expect such a high number. This meant that I would receive 100 copies. Well, technically 99 because I had to give one copy to the director, but very rarely do they print over 100 copies in the whole run, let alone 150 in like the first run of a new author. Again, my timing mattered a lot because I basically had no competition that I would have to split the budget with. So great, I got my contract without much difficulty. I got way more copies than I had hoped for. And by the end of March, I would have my novel, in my hands. So why is this video titled The Hell of Publishing a Novel as an Unknown Author? Oh boy. So I come back to my village 30th of March, right? Novels should be done by now. I get an email saying that they have been delayed for a week. No problem, I think. I'll start preparing for the upcoming promotion that I'm planning to host. And so I do. I order a 1.5 meter tall Caesar, the main villain for my novel, a plastic cutout that will be standing at the entrance of the hall that I'll be holding my promotion in. I also ordered 60 bookmarkers, which I designed. Bookmarkers that I would give to every person who came to the promotion. My aunt helped me with both orders. You see, she's been working with this guy who prints all kinds of stuff for nearly a decade, maybe even over a decade now. So that's great, I think to myself. I have a reputable guy that my aunt is a frequent customer of, the guy who knows what he's doing and will do his job well, right? This is definitely not a foreshadowing for what's about to come, but we'll get back to that later. A week later, I go to the publishing house to check if my novel is done printing, and it is not. I'm like, okay, there is still time. The date of the promotion was 29th of April. There is exactly 3 weeks left to prepare. Still, it would have been nice to, have the novels be done on time so that I would start planning out in advance, as I like to do. I like to have everything prepared in advance, everything organized nicely, especially something that's so important to me, such as my first promotion. But alas, I confirm the date of the promotion, and the director assures me that the novels will be done by the end of the week. In the meantime, I go to check the hall where the promotion will be held in. It is smaller than I expected. It can seat up to like 34, 45 people, but that might be better. I won't need a mic or big speakers to talk. It will be perfect actually. Once I rearranged some things up and set things up my way, yeah, this can work. The Caesar cutout was done, and it looked magnificent. Perfect. People will not be able to resist not taking a photo with him after the promotion. And not only that, but also my bookmarkers are done too. They are wrapped in this foil so that they don't get moisture damage, And I decided to leave them packed until 2 days before my promotion, just in case. I wanted to keep them wrapped so that they don't get wet or damaged. This means that I did not take a look at how the bookmarkers turned out. I just saw the one on top and I assumed they were all like that. They were all printed and cut the same way. I assumed that the guy who printed them as an order from my aunt, like the same guy that my aunt has been working with weekly for the past 10 years, would do his job right, especially for one of, if not the most frequent customer of his. I mean, what are the two types of customers you want to serve the best? The new customers? Those who are using your service for the very first time, right? You want to leave a good first impression after all, so that they come back to you again. And the regulars, the most frequent customers, those who have trusted you for years or even decades. Of course, you will want to serve them the best. After all, they're the ones who kept your business running. Hell, they most likely brought you new customers from their word of mouth during all those years. I mean, for them, you wouldn't, wrongly cut out 50 out of 60 bookmarkers just because you were lazy, right? You wouldn't, put the 10 good ones on top so it looks like you cut every bookmarker the right way. Right? You wouldn't cut 50 of them wrongly. Oh wait, that's exactly what that guy did. And I foolishly, I believed that he would do a good job, So I didn't even open the bookmarkers until 2 days before the promotion. And that's on me. I trusted the wrong guy. And that's entirely on me. But I was just so angry that day. So just imagine my surprise when I finally did open them and saw that I would need to fix 50 of them. That I would need to, cut the corner here or cut this whole side. And man, some just turned uglier than others. I mean, it wasn't the end of the world, and had it been the only bad thing that happened during that time, I wouldn't even be that angry, honestly. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Where I said, okay, it's like Thursday, books should be done by now, right? After the director said by the end of the week. So it's Thursday, basically the end of the week, and I go to the director and I ask her if they're done, and she says, oh yeah, they will be done on Saturday. But they won't be here until Monday or Tuesday. Basically, you come here Tuesday and then you can pick them up. Right, so the novels should have been done by the end of March. And now it is the middle of April. And I have to wait 4 or 5 more days before I can pick them up? Which is exactly 1 week before the promotion. 1 week. Okay, folks. I focus on finishing my plan for the promotion. The director told me it should last about 30 minutes. So I make a presentation and I plan out about 20 minutes of talking with 10 minutes left to answer any questions that I would have after my talk, On Tuesday, I go to the publisher again and finally the books are done. Exactly 1 week before the promotion and I finally hold my book in hand and it looks amazing. The pictures are so colorful. The pages feel nice. The whole print is I could not have gotten a better print, especially for our first run. And as the contract said, 100 copies went to me and 50 to them. Now, I have my presentation and I was tasked with making a banner that would be put in front of the library so that people, would see the date, time and place for the promotion. The workers in the library assured me that they would put the banner up exactly 5 days before the promotion. That means the banner would be up on Friday and on the weekend, which was perfect. People would have time to see where and when it's taking place. People would have enough time to plan things out, over the weekend. The promotion is on Tuesday, then we could do this. It's in that time, Surely the workers would do their job and keep their promise, right? They wouldn't possibly forget to put up the banner on the weekend, right? Well, not only did they forget to put the banner up on time, but on Friday, they said, yeah, don't worry, we're putting it on today. They straight up said that, and then did not put the banner out. And I noticed this on Monday, one day before the promotion. Who the fuck would see the banner now, 24 or maybe 30 hours before the promotion, instead of 5 days before the promotion? Like, do you understand how fucked up that is? And I see that woman just freeze in place when I ask her, where is the banner? And she knew that she fucked up. But instead of apologizing, she looks me in the eyes and says, oh, the banner wasn't printed on time. The banner was in the room behind her. It was in the room behind her. And instead of apologizing, she straight up lied to my face, putting the blame on someone else. On the guy who should have printed the banner, even though he did print the banner and the banner was there in the library. And she was just like, no, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. I forgot right after I told you, don't worry, it will be put today. And I didn't put it out today. Putting the blame on someone else, because why not, I guess. It's a good thing that I had started inviting people and advertising my promotion a whole week before the promotion took place. If I hadn't, this would have been a disaster. I mean, a bigger disaster than it already was. Because just imagine how many more people could have seen the banner and who could have known about the promotion had they put the banner out on time. But anyway, the same day I go and give one of my copies to the director as a thank you. That's why I said at the beginning that technically 99 copies were mine. Yeah. I also bring up the fixed bookmarkers and the scissor to the promotional hall. Bringing scissor was quite stressful alone because of the thin flexible plastic that he's printed on, but thankfully he didn't break. Originally I planned to give away only bookmarkers, but my aunt surprised me with 50 small legacy cookies, wrapped to look like little novels. And that was pretty sweet addition. Thank you, aunt. So I gave those to everyone who showed up too. Just you show up, you get a free bookmarker and a cookie in the shape of a small book. And not only that, but my aunt also printed me a custom Legacy of the Castellan Crown t-shirt that I wore on the promotion. The day of the promotion, I barely slept out of excitement that night. I mean, that's to be expected. So I go to hall 1 hour before the promotion. And then, bombshell. So you talk for 40 to 45 minutes and then 50 minutes of answer questions. I was told. What? But the director, she said a total of 30 minutes, 20 minutes of talking, 10 for answering questions, not one. No. You need to talk for 40 to 45 minutes and then 15 minutes to 20 minutes you will be answering questions. Oh, great. Oh, that's great. That is excellent. I would have to improvise. A lot. Perfect. And I found this out 1 hour before the promotion begins. And of course, the guests, they start arriving early because why not? And I barely tested the equipment before the hall was already half full. More people are coming, taking pictures of Caesar, of the hall. More people are coming. Wait, that's already 30. Whoa, that's over 30. We brought more chairs. 40. 40 people, not 25. No, not 35. 40 showed up, maybe 42. But we had to bring extra chairs for people. And then I hear the director start talking. I'm still flabbergasted that the hall is overfilled with people, even though a dozen didn't show up. Our first novel on English, blah blah blah. A very creative young mind, blah blah blah. I will now give the word to... And sudden silence. It was time. I thought of how I performed with my accordion when I was in middle school, how I even won a tournament in front of a big crowd. If I could do that a decade ago, I can do this now. So I start talking. Despite my expectations, my voice isn't shaking. I barely make any pauses during my talk. I just talk, I keep talking, I perform. And I keep on going, and I rarely even look at the crowd, but when I do, they are entertained. They look focused. They have their attention on me, on my story, on my characters. And before I knew it, 40 minutes have passed. It was time for questions. And only when I finally sit down after 40 minutes of talking, I notice that I am thirsty as fuck. My throat is dry and in a desert. Luckily, I had a cup of water in front of me. I drink it in seconds while I hear the first question. I answer, 2 more come. I answer, 3, 5, 7 more. I answer so many questions. For over 20 minutes, I answer all kinds of questions related to my work, to my characters, to my stories. People liked it. They liked it. And when it's finally done, they go... Over half of them buy my novel. Just right then and there. Over half of them bought my novel. And they come to me to sign it. They ask me to take photos with them. And right then I knew that this whole hell of a journey paid off. All the stress, all the bumps, all of it paid off. Tomorrow morning, an article is written about me and my promotion. Turns out this has been the most successful promotion in the village in years, maybe decades. After that, I go on an interview, and hopefully I am able to get my story noticed by someone finally. Now, how much can you realistically expect to earn as an author? Not much. Realistically, you will get a worse contract than I have, meaning you probably won't get all 100% of the sales. But even if you do, you have to set a reasonable price considering you're still unknown. Basically, you always set your price below the standard. This is why I charged around 15 euros for my illustrated novel, even though those kind of novels go for like double the price. I charged about 10 on the day of promotion, so like a discount. In that day, I sold 22 copies, meaning 220 euros in sales, minus 20 euros that cost me to make Caesar, and another 20 to 30 to make the bookmarkers. We're looking at around 175 euros in profit on the promotion day. After that, it's been a few weeks, right? And I sold only like 4 copies, maybe 5. So sales really slowed down after the promotion, which is why I am looking for a way to organize another promotion in a bigger city. Of course, I am not in this for the money. And if you are, you're at the wrong place. Making a living as an author is almost impossible unless you got some sort of a connection to a medium or a large publisher. You can read my novel on Tapas for free without an account. Granted, it's an outdated version, meaning there are grammar errors and some scenes are shorter than in the physical release, but overall, it's the same story, just a bit outdated. And you can also listen to the audio version of my novel here on YouTube, also for free, of course. If any one of you is interested in buying my novel, you can contact me on Instagram or via email or Discord or however. Just know that if you're not from Serbia, shipping is around 30 euros usually. For other countries, I know, expensive as fuck, ludicrous cost. If you ask me, shipping is the biggest fucking scam. I also have a Patreon. Again, you get nothing by subscribing to Patreon. It's completely just a way of support. And don't feel obliged to do any of that. There are a lot of tiny things I decided not to talk about in detail in this video, such as the fact that for the longest time I didn't know if I would even be allowed to sell my novels inside the promotional hall, due to taxes, of course. Oh, or also the fact that the director almost broke Caesar 10 minutes before the promotion. There's a lot of tiny things also that were also very stressful and frustrating. But I went over the most important parts of the journey. Yeah, this entire video took a long time to make. I hope you found something out of it, whether it's something useful, inspiring, or just entertaining. I hope it was worth your time. Thank you. Have a nice day.